Eritrea-Ethiopia Boundary Commission. Sir Elihu Lauderpacht, CBEQC, President. Judge Stephen M. Schwebel, appointed by Eritrea. Professor W. Michael Reisman, appointed by Eritrea. His Excellency Prince Bola Adesumbo Ajibola, appointed by Ethiopia. Sir Arthur Watts, KCMG-QC, appointed by Ethiopia. Permanent Court of Arbitration. Eritrea-Ethiopia Boundary Commission. In May 1998, armed conflict broke out between the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the State of Eritrea. On December 12, 2000, the governments of Ethiopia and Eritrea concluded the Algiers Agreement, which terminated military hostilities and provided, inter alia, for the establishment of the Boundary Commission. Names of parties. Government of Eritrea. His Excellency Mr. Ali Said Abdallah, Foreign Minister of the State of Eritrea, Agent. Professor Leah Brillmeyer, Co-Agent, Legal Advisor to the Office of the President of Eritrea. Government of Ethiopia. His Excellency Mr. Siem Mesfin, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Agent. His Excellency Mr. Faseya Yimmer, Ambassador of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia to Switzerland and to the United Nations in Geneva, Co-Agent.
deploy quickly, you can nip a problem in the bud or at least contain it. So hooray to the men, hooray to Sherbrooke, and hooray to rapid deployment. Thank you very much.
The Boundary Commission was mandated to delimit and demarcate the colonial treaty border based on pertinent colonial treaties, 1900, 1902 and 1908, and applicable international law. The Boundary Commission was seated in The Hague with the Permanent Court of Arbitration serving as registry and the UN Cartographic Section providing technical support. The chief of the UN Cartographic Section was appointed as the Boundary Commission's secretary. As provided in the Algiers Agreement, the secretary reviewed the claims and evidence of the parties and identified the portions of the border which were not in dispute. In Article 4(1) of the Algiers Agreement, the parties reaffirmed the principle of respect for the borders existing at independence as espoused by the OAU Summit in Cairo in 1964, principle of uti possidetis. In its delimitation decision, the Boundary Commission had regard to this principle and also to the role of subsequent conduct of the parties, including inter alia activities on the ground tending to show the exercise of sovereign authority, effectivites. The colonial treaties of 1900, 1902, and 1908 related, respectively, to the central, western, and eastern sectors of the boundary. In each of these sectors, the Boundary Commission determined the boundary by reference to the pertinent colonial treaty as modified, where relevant, by the subsequent conduct of the parties. The Boundary Commission set out its description of the boundary as so determined in a unanimous decision dated April 13, 2002. The second part of the Boundary Commission's mandate was to demarcate the boundary. Upon the issuance of the delimitation decision, the parties announced their full acceptance of the decision and called upon the Boundary Commission to conduct an expeditious demarcation.
This decision was fair and legal. Badem and its surroundings, which Eritrea invaded and occupied, May 1998, on the basis of its false claims, has now been decided by the Commission that Badem and its surroundings belong to Ethiopia.
Now, talking about defending your territory, I think that from what I have seen, part of this particular territory we are referring to is Badame. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
But now the reports that we get now suggest that Badame has in fact been given to Eritrea. Is that also correct?
No, my government, upon analysis of the decision and using tangible cartographic evidences, he has declared officially that Bademe, where the conflict started, now goes to Ethiopia.
And goes to Ethiopia.
Exactly.
Is that true?
I think if my Ethiopian brother, the ambassador, is reading from a different script, I would have said it's true, but this is a document, a UN document. This is not a Eritrean document.
Yeah, right.
Here is a document. You have to just simply go page 84.
Correct.
Not only page 84, compare map number 2 of the UN and compare map number 10 of the UN verdict.
Okay.
Map number 2 shows you clearly where both claim. The green line is Eritrea's claim. We never passed even an inch to Ethiopian territory. But look, our Ethiopian brothers claim chunk of land, or the red.
Correct.
Finally, the verdict is here. And the verdict is exactly the way the colonial powers have underlined it in straight line.
Okay.
If my Ethiopian brother is talking about this, what they call the triangle, the Yirga triangle, they call it, we've said a long time ago, that's not what we claim, the straight line. But the document clearly, in the map, it shows you who is where, who is awarded.
So Bademe
Second,
is awarded...
the Bademo also, it clearly says to whom it is awarded.
To Eritrea.
Statement.
The Boundary Commission issued demarcation directions on July 8, 2002 and established field offices in Asmara, Addis Ababa, and Adigrat. Between March and August 2003, the Boundary Commission completed part of the demarcation in the eastern sector. When the Boundary Commission attempted to commence demarcation in the central and western sectors, an impasse arose between the parties after Ethiopia called into question certain parts of the delimitation decision. Having been unable to continue with the demarcation, the Boundary Commission held a meeting with the parties in March 2006, with a view to enabling the resumption of demarcation activities, but without success. The UN Security Council was seized of the situation and requested that the parties comply with their obligations under the Algiers Agreement. Following further unsuccessful attempts to meet with the parties, the Boundary Commission met in private session at The Hague on November 20, 2006. On November 27, 2006, the Boundary Commission issued a statement on an alternative approach of identifying the location of points for the emplacement of pillars by the use of image processing and terrain modeling techniques. The statement provided inter alia that if by the end of November 2007 the parties had not reached agreement on the emplacement of pillars, the boundary would automatically stand as demarcated by the boundary points listed in the annex to the statement. Following a meeting with the parties held on September 6 and 7, 2007, which did not yield any agreement, the Boundary Commission determined, on November 30, 2007, that the pillar locations identified in the annex to the statement became binding on the parties.